And here we are with Not Exactly Reveal the Shield Lugnut. This is Takara's United Lugnut. I don't remember the exact number of this thing. I'm sure it'll be in the video title. But point is, this is Reveal the Shield Lugnut, but the Takara version, so it's in different colors. And a little bit weird in one particular area, which we will get to. But yeah, the Reveal the Shield Lugnut mold is like one of those all-timers. And there was an auction for this. I was able to get the auction, win the auction for a pretty decent price, considering, and I forget exactly how much I paid for it, but basically, I wanted to get Reveal the Shield Lugnut back, and thought, like, hey, if I can get this for around the same price, why not? So now I've got this. And this is much like what we did, or what I did when I looked at Generation Selects Galvatron last time. This is the exact same figure, just in a different color scheme, with one very specific weird difference, which I guess I'll get into right now. So, aside from the colors, the one thing that is like weirdly different about this version over the Reveal the Shield version is the butt flap, the plane's butt flap. I don't really understand why this is, but in the Takara version, this is made out of soft plastic. As you can see, it's squishy and wiggly, and it just does that. Like I don't understand that because the Reveal the Shield version, as far as I can remember, maybe I'm misremembering, but I'm pretty sure it was solid plastic. It was just this kind of plastic, not this weird squishiness. I don't understand why they did that. Also, while I'm back here, I may as well talk about the gun thing. So this flips up and there's a little cannon back here. I don't have the missile. This did not come with the missile. I do not care. But yeah, there's supposed to be a missile here. And this swings down rather inappropriately. And you can fire a missile out of this. You could fire it that way. You could fire it that way. It's whatever. If you wanted to, you could rotate the tail around 180 degrees and have it more up like this, so it's more like an artillery cannon type thing, which I think looks better. But yeah, that's that. I still don't understand why this is soft plastic, but it's not a problem, it's just strange. But anyway, United Lugnut is, like I said, just Reveal the Shield Lugnut, so it is this kind of bomber type vehicle. Still got the shark teeth on the side, though it doesn't have the eyes, which I'm fine with. And it's a darker green. You've also got this like kind of very slightly bronzy beige color for some plastics, and kind of the paint around the nose there. So that's, again, it's just the colors are the primary difference. But this does look cool. I like the much darker green. It really makes these bits around the turbines pop. And I also like not having the eyes on the deco on the front of the plane, because this way I feel like it really makes it look more like the cockpit windows up at the top are the eyes. And this is just the big mouth, so this is like some kind of giant dinosaur monster flying through the sky. I just think that's cooler. And that is pretty much all I can say about the vehicle mode, really. It doesn't, like... It's the same exact vehicle. The guns on the side can swivel, and these actually do swivel smoother than the Reveal the Shield versions that I've had in the past. So I don't know if that's a mold thing or just bad luck on my part, but yeah, it's pretty clean. Like, there is robot stuff, but it hides itself pretty well, all things considered. And it's just a neat-looking plane in a darker color scheme than the other version. And size-wise, it is also pretty big. We bring in our Voyager. Again, Dinobot has replaced Artfire. Artfire is no more. There are our size comparisons and also a Modern Deluxe. So this, I can't remember what size class Lugnut is supposed to be. I don't know if he's supposed to be, I don't think he's a leader. I don't know if he's a Voyager. I don't know. But he's definitely bigger than a deluxe. I'm not speaking very clearly tonight for some reason. So there's that. But I know what you really want to see, so there is Lugnut with the duck tank. Now, before we get into the transformation, which is the exact same transformation as Reveal the Shield Lugnut, if you like this video or any of the other videos that I've done and you want to support the channel with money, which I would not be opposed to, but it's not necessary, I do have a Ko-fi or a Patreon. Links to both are at the end of the video as well as down in the description. Otherwise, if you want to support the channel without spending money, which I totally get, you could always do the typical YouTube thing of like, comment, share, subscribe. And now let's transform Lugnut. So, as I said, this is exactly the same as Reveal the Shield Lugnut's transformation, so if you're familiar with that, then you know how this works. So first thing, I'm going to fold down the tail fin. It can fold in either direction, doesn't matter. Rotate that around. I'm going to take the bottom section here and pull this down. You stay tabbed in for now. Pull this down, and this will bring down like the entire lower body section of the robot mode. And straighten all of this out like that. This here will untab. This is like a little T-shaped tab. So you don't want to pull it apart. You want to slide it apart. Like basically you want to do this to slide it apart. And that will untab all of that. I'm going to take the thighs and rotate them around 180 degrees. Take the hips and rotate them around 180 degrees. So now we're looking like this. Take this section and fold it in. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to take this double hinge here and hinge it in like this, because that's how I like to have the legs sitting. Now we can fold this in on either side, and that gives us the legs. And then for the feet, just bring this down and uncurl the toes. And there we go. There is a foot. Very simple, but very clever. I really, like I said, this is an all-timer in terms of figures, and I really, really like the way the transformation works. It's very clever. Okay, now going to untab this section here that just pops out. So this can swing down. This section here, this flap untabs, just tabs in down there and swings back like so. And then this this whole assembly pops up. There's like a hinge here, and there are these little bits that kind of sort of tab in. I can zoom in, kind of sort of tab in right there. So you want to unhook those so that you can pop this section up like that, and then this will shift forward, and these little tab sections will go into these little grooves. These little tab sections, which have like a hook tab on the inside, will go into these little grooves here. So that goes in like that. And that just reshapes the torso section a bit, which is a step I think is really cool. And now you can push this armature in, and doing that will pop open the chest. So push that in, and that pops open. Now what I like to do is these bits can rotate. I like to rotate them out and then kind of back in, just to make sure that like the angles work a little better, because when they come in like this, they're on a bit of an angle, and you kind of want to tilt them in for vehicle mode. But I like to tilt them out so that they can kind of slide into this crevice, and then just tilt them in so that they settle a little bit more naturally. But anyway, this will continue to push forward. Get the head kind of tilted forward. This pushes forward, and we also want to hinge this forward. And this section will peg in up here, like that, and then this just comes in and presses up against the back. And there we've got Lugnut almost finished. Say the best part for last, because if you're familiar with this mold, you know why the arms are so amazing. But if you're not familiar with this mold, then I've got a treat for you. So the wings are the arms. This is very cool. The wing section rotates 180 degrees here. That's a gimmick for robot mode, which I keep accidentally pressing this little button here. When you press that, that happens. But yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to robot mode. Now this flap section here folds in. That creates a bicep. Stand. Now, with the bicep created, I'm actually going to rotate this just so you can see what I'm doing. These bits here untab. They kind of tab over these two bits here. These untab, straighten out. This untabs from here, and this can kind of come out. And this wingtip flips around and tabs in back here. And then this whole assembly rotates. And that gives you a hand. And there we go. Get all this straightened out, and then this can just come down. And there we go. There is one arm all done for Lugnut. And that is, I love that, how that's like very much a robot arm, but that's very much a plain wing. It's so cool how that works. So again, this can untap from what becomes the thumb, swing around, peg in there. The fingers uncurl, and this rotates around. This flap section folds in, and then this entire wing rotates 180 degrees. And again, I keep pushing that button. But there we go. There is Takara's United Lugnut in robot mode. And this is, it's Reveal the Shield Lugnut, so it is awesome. Just by virtue of the fact that it is Reveal the Shield Lugnut, this is a fantastic robot. It's a fantastic figure. I love this thing. I will say that this color scheme did take a little bit of getting used to. I do, in many ways, prefer the Reveal the Shield colors just because the contrast between the darker green sections and these lighter kind of tannish bronze, or copper rather, colors, it's a little bit jarring. I don't hate it, it's just, it took some adjustment. But this does look really cool. And here again, he's like mostly this green color, just like the plane was, but you get a little bit of extra detail in there, which I think that's also a thing that I like with the original Reveal the Shield mold, where I feel like there was a little bit more color breakup. This kind of gives, like, not exactly, but this kind of gives a G1 long haul big guy wearing a onesie vibe in terms of color distribution, whereas Reveal the Shield Lugnut, I didn't really get that. But it could also just be the actual shade of the colors making it feel like that to me. I don't know. But anyway, he is cool. I love the shape of this guy. He's very, like, bulky and kind of monstrous, I guess. Not really monstrous, but he's a big, chunky guy. He looks cool. I love the kind of Ninja Turtle fingers that he's got. And he's just very neat. Very, aside from the tail just kind of chilling out on his back, it's a very clean robot mode. I wish you could do more with this. Like, if you wanted to, you could pull it out and, like, swing it up, but that's not great. And, like, you can roll this up like that, but, like, what does that accomplish? Absolutely nothing is what it accomplishes. It makes me wish, and I think I said this in the Reveal the Shield version video, where I kind of wish that this could come out and he could just hold it like a gun. But you can't. Oh well. But yeah, getting back to the colors, I do like this strip of purple going up the center, which is weirdly not coming across well on camera. My light, it's maybe not intense enough for this, but I do like the purple strip going up the center. You get the Decepticon logo, some red bits that are painted in for like a little extra flair. I also like the metallic green that they used on the knee pads here. That is something I think is missing from the rest of the deco. You get the metallic green for the knee pads, and that's it. It doesn't really show up anywhere else. I kind of wish that that color was used elsewhere, and maybe like the arms, just to, you know, add a little bit more consistency to the color scheme. But the way the torso comes together is great. I love the way this kind of bulks out for the chest. The head is, look at the head in a minute, but I love the head. And of course, you got the big old shoulder turbines. It's a very cool design. Now, for that head, why is he not standing? Okay. I think one of the knees was pushed in a little too far and he wasn't standing straight because of it. Talk about that in a minute. Stop trying to get ahead of yourself, buddy. Now, for the head, it's Lugnut's head. In this case, it kind of looks like a futuristic train that is a face, but I like it. It's got kind of like an engine look to it almost, with like these little bits along the side here that are light piped. I do not know if this is actually going to light pipe well. Let me see, because he does have a piping block up there. Bring the light up here. Does that make any kind of difference? Not really. Yeah, the the light piping's not very effective, but he has it. But I do like the shape and design of it. And also the kind of gold around the eyes, nice. And this is also great because that dark red, like you can kind of tell that it's there on the purple, but like having that ring around the center really helps to keep it from blending in with the purple for the eye. So I like that. And also his mouth can open, which is a little silly, but I like it. And depending on how you want to look at it, you could almost look at it as like those are his eyes, as like a visor, and this is like a jewel on the top of his helmet, like he's some kind of Mega Man villain. I know that's not what the actual design is, but it could be interpreted that way. Now, in terms of... Oh, actually, before getting into articulation, I also want to say I just really love the metallic purple they used. It's a glorious metallic purple that I wish they used elsewhere on the figure, but they didn't. But the articulation, the head is on a ball joint, so it can kind of wiggle side to side. It can kind of look up and down. This piece doesn't really tab in, so it just kind of sits. And that is a bit unfortunate. I wish there was a way for that to, like... Does that clip it in? Nope. I swear that I could have sworn this thing was more solidly in place the last time I transformed this guy. Let me try something as I derail the articulation segment. I swear this was like this goes underneath this section. Pull this out a little bit. Come on. Unpeg. Unpeg. Boy, you're really in there. Pull out. There we go. Okay, so try to keep this down, bring this up a bit in front of it, maybe? Nope. This doesn't work that way. So yeah, that piece is just, it's just not gonna... It doesn't stay in, which is unfortunate. Oh well. But anyway, you can tilt the head, you can look up and down. If you use that panel, you can look up a bit more. It can rotate, though because of how it's seated, it does kind of angle as you rotate it, which is a shame. Now, this is the one thing about the design of this figure that I find rather disappointing. It's not the worst thing, but it is unfortunate. He does not have any forwards and backwards shoulder rotation. I feel like that could have fit in here, but then again, maybe not because of the way this works. But yeah, he does not have any forward or backward rotation at the shoulder, and that really bums me out. As you saw, though, he can bring his arms in and out like that, and there is a joint up here to bring the arms forward. So you can do stuff like that if you wanted to. It's definitely better than not having it, but I really wish they could have figured out a way to give him proper forward and backward shoulder rotation, because I think that just really would have helped. It's not the worst thing, but it is obnoxiously limiting for some of the poses that I want to do with this guy. As you also saw as part of the transformation, you get a bicep rotation. You also get an elbow bend that goes under 90, but you can kind of maybe count that as a double elbow. I don't know. And the fingers are articulated. The thumb can move. The fingers are on one joined connection up here, and then separate connections below that. So, reasonably posable hands. His hands can be quite expressive. I like that. And now, lower body is actually pretty good articulation. You do have a waist swivel, which can go all the way around. The hips can go forward past 90, and they're on a soft ratchet too, so that's nice, and can go back to about there before the tail gets in the way, but if you get the tail out of the way, they can go back all the way. Also, while we're doing this with this swung back, you can do that, which I don't like to do, but it's an option. Okay. So you get that. The legs can go out past 90. You get a thigh rotation, which is also weirdly ratcheted. The knees can bend over 90 degrees on basically a single hinge. This hinge is really more for the transformation, but you got a lot of bend there. And then the feet, because of the transformation, can go forward and back a bit. You also do get a bit of tilt, and they're actually on like a ball joint, so you can rotate them. So he's shockingly posable in the lower body and a little bit disappointing in the upper body. Also, I feel like I need to do something to tighten up the joints in the hips. Like the inward-outward motion just seems a little bit too loose. But yeah, he's very cool. And then you've got his gimmick, the punch of kill everything, where if you push this little button, the fist shoots forward like that. And I hate this gimmick because it doesn't really accomplish much. All it does really is make his arms a little bit longer, his forearms specifically, and it's kind of on a hair trigger. It's very easy to bump this when transforming him, and even just handling him in vehicle mode or robot mode and having it pop the hand forward. So many times I'd be adjusting this and it'd be like, whoops. But that's what he looks like with extremely long arms. Yeah, I don't like that gimmick. Don't like the gimmick. Wish he had better arm articulation. But aside from that, this continues to be a fantastic figure that is, as I said at the beginning of the video, this is an all-timer. I feel like there's no doubt about that. Anyone who's been into this and knows about this figure probably has the same takeaway. Now, he is a little, not short, but like he's probably a little bit shorter than you might expect given how bulky he is. But that's also just how he's designed. It's part of his frame. He is a chunky boy. So there we've got Dinobot, our Voyager, and you can already see he's taller than Dinobot, or rather Dinobot is taller, but if you're going by like where the shoulders are a little bit taller. So it all depends on how you look at it, but there's our Tall Deluxe, there's our Samus Amiibo, and there is a Standard Deluxe, so you can see how he measures up there. And also a thing to consider with Lugnut, he's way more bulky than he is tall because that's his design, but like also he's kind of hunched. He's got this kind of hunchback design where the shoulders sit well above the head, which I think is really cool. I like that design for him. But that does kind of shift where you might be looking when it comes to size comparisons, height, shoulder lines, that kind of thing. Now, before we do the all-important size comparison, I did want to bring out his buddy, though not necessarily his buddy from this specific line, but, the two do go together. So there is United Lugnut with, I think, Reveal the Shield, or possibly Hunt for the Decepticons. I don't remember. But movie lockdown, basically. And like pre-Age of Extinction movie lockdown, I mean, they're the two of them together. And that's lockdown when he's not fully extended, and he's already noticeably taller than Lugnut. So yeah, that's the two of them together. They're a cool pair. But, of course, there is the most important one we've got to do for size comparison. Here is Lugnut with the Duck Tank. And that does it for Takara's United version of Lugnut, this recolor of Reveal the Shield Lugnut. And it's a fantastic figure. It's always a fantastic figure, no matter what version or what color scheme you get. It is a great figure. It is an all-timer. It's up there with like Hunt for the Decepticons Starscream. Or I feel like it's safe to say Legacy Armada Prime is going to be an all-timer. I think he's already an all-timer, but I think that's going to be one that like 10 years from now, people are going to be like, yeah, that was a really good figure. But yeah, he is one of those. And in these colors, he looks great. And I just really like him. I don't know. I'm content with this. I don't think I'm going to be getting Reveal the Shield Lugnut again because I just want one copy of the mold, but it's cool. Great design, great engineering. The only thing that really stinks about this guy is the lack of proper forward and backward shoulder rotation, which, as I'm thinking about it, was probably due to the way that all of this had to be assembled so that the arms could go out and thus make the wings. But I don't know, I kind of feel like maybe there was a way they could have figured it out. But hey, it is what it is. Regardless, even with that limitation, he's still really cool. And as I said, he's an all-timer. He's definitely worth getting if you can get one. The only thing that stinks is Reveal the Shield Lugnut and United Lugnut are both kind of absurd on the aftermarket. Like I said, again, I don't remember how much I paid for this guy. Actually, I've got my laptop next to me. I can just look it up because I have a thing here. I have a fancy little spreadsheet where I keep track of all of the figures in my collection. And I am not... No, actually, the total for the... I keep like track of money, of like how much I spent for various reasons. Like, eBay sales so I can compare and contrast, possible insurance stuff if it ever comes to that kind of thing. And my collection total value is actually less than I thought it was going to be, so I consider that a good thing. It's still up there, but it's less than I thought, so it's not as scary. But yeah, looking at my spreadsheet, not counting shipping or taxes or anything like that, I paid about $80 for this guy back when I got him a year and a half ago. And that was great because Reveal the Shield Lugnut I've seen regularly sell for like 100 to 150, if not more. Whether or not it's worth that price to you is really up to you to decide. I am very content with having spent $80 on this guy compared to like 100, 150, $200. But I would have been much happier if I had paid, say, around $50 for him. And absolutely ecstatic if I paid like 30. But, it's all subjective. It all depends on what you're comfortable with. But just know that if you're patient, I feel like you can find this guy or the Reveal the Shield version for a price that's hopefully under $100. But that is going to do it. That's all I've got to say about this guy. So what do you think of this Lugnut mold, whether it's the United version or the Reveal the Shield version? Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching. And yeah, I still haven't got anything new to cover, so get me going back to the well of reserves for the next video, whatever that's going to be.